I was thinking that I would like to make YouTube videos about drawing, and I was hoping to start a series, and my initial idea was something like Draw With Me or a 100-day challenge where I make a commitment and draw every day, or at least sketch every day for 100 days to polish my skills. But then I tried to do that, and I tried doing it on camera, and I realized that I am afraid of failing on camera, in public. Failing in a way that it's recorded and available for people to see. I realized that I never truly learned drawing. It's probably a bit difficult to explain, but I like to draw as any kids, or most kids like to draw, and as a kid you don't have the same amount of self-criticism, if any. And in addition, you're also praised by people for being creative. When you get older, that changes. You adopt the criticism that people bestowed on you, and sometimes, depending on your environment, you become extremely self-critical, and not just in regards to your creativity. I drew in school, as you do, and when I was 13, I attended art school for a year, only for an academic drawing course. Drawing sculptures, fragments of sculptures, ornaments, nature, fruit bowls, what have you. And I was very good at pencil and graphite drawings. I learned shading, and I also learned to be really good at copying things. I can draw well a thing that I see that's already there, that's finished. After that, I occasionally drew. Sometimes I painted just for myself, and that was that. I would make an occasional greeting card for someone. I'd get a lot of ideas, but would never really translate them into art and drawing. I used to be a huge fan of anime, and I drew a lot for myself. For example, I had a collection of Dragon Ball Z stickers from screenshots from the series, and I would redraw them on A4 paper. It was still all copying something that I liked and admired. It wasn't until pretty much 20 years later, when I was 32, when I thought I would really like to draw again, and I started doing it. But being a perfectionist, whenever the drawing was not what I had envisioned, or things didn't go as planned, or the artwork that I had in my head did not end up looking good on paper, I get easily discouraged. So it was a lot of starting and dropping it, starting again and stopping again. I even started my Instagram account for art to help me be accountable, but it didn't really help. I was working an office job at the time, and it was the pandemic, and we were working from home most of the time. So I had the additional free time. But it still wasn't the same, because contrary to what I believed, the presence on social media, first of all, being surrounded by all of the advanced artists and their posts, it had the opposite effect, because I became even more critical towards my art. I didn't have a style that pleased me. I felt that I don't have a personal handwriting. That blocked my creativity in many ways. A few years later, when I just burned out at my job, I decided I would start drawing more. I would enroll in a few online courses, but oftentimes I could not go through with them because I got bored very easily. Always excited to start a thing, but then not feeling like finishing it. If a course couldn't hold my attention and excitement continuously, I would drop it despite having paid for it. So there was this added mental burden of, having several courses on standby that I had purchased, and despite them not being that pricey, I still had spent resources on them, but then hadn't really used them. I'm sure I got something from each of them, but because I never finished, I didn't feel good about myself. In addition, because they were never precisely what I needed, I realized that I never truly consistently learned how to draw human anatomy, bodies, heads, faces. I remember getting good at it at one point, because that's likely due to the fact that I was basically copying what the artist or the teacher was drawing. But once I did not have the video or picture in front of me anymore, I wasn't as good at recreating that. So I'm thinking that I want to say that my skill is slightly uneven, if that makes sense. Sometimes I can draw human anatomy really well and quite effortlessly, and other times it's as if I'm holding the pencil for the first time in my life. And that can be extremely frustrating. So there are these gaps in my skill, because some things I didn't learn, and for some things I lacked the patience, so the gaps kept accumulating. And every time I stumble upon one of these gaps, I get frustrated. My initial idea for my YouTube videos was to do a challenge where I get a simple sketchbook and record what and how I am doing with commentary, and make it a 50 or say 100-day challenge, and perhaps inspire people to follow. But then I realized that because I am afraid to fail, I don't feel relaxed and natural when I'm drawing, and that is never good. The creativity is blocked, and you're just trying to make it good for the sake of the result and not for the process of drawing. And it's not helping improve the skill. But I wanted the whole thing to be beneficial. Me improving myself and people seeing that it's fine to just start drawing. Another thing that's been stopping me from drawing, sharing my work and drawing live, is that I never know whether I'm going to be good at that particular drawing or not. Very often I have drawn something I really like when I've not been thinking about recording it. I'm able to erase something several times when no one's watching, right? When I film, there's this feeling of being watched, even if I get to edit the footage later. And so, because I never know if I'm going to be good that day, I also didn't want to post something that would make people think that, oh, she's not even good, she draws like a beginner. And sometimes it really looks like a beginner's drawing, and I cannot even explain it to myself because, again, sometimes it's very good and other times it's crap. I can share examples of several drawings that have been drawn within a few days or weeks from each other, but look entirely different, both in skill and style. I am bummed about, feeling like I don't have a personal style. I cannot offer something that's recognizable. But I also think that that's fine for the moment. What I realize now is that one of the best things I can do for myself and hopefully for others is to make a series of videos where I'm not afraid to fail. And I would call it something like Fail at Drawing with Me. This would definitely take off the pressure off of myself and offer both a relaxing, non-toxic environment for people where they are welcome to try and fail and try again and improve. If you never fail, you can't get better. So I do hope to make videos where, despite being uncomfortable drawing on camera, maybe feeling tense, having to produce an acceptable or an aesthetically pleasing result, and kind of proving that I'm actually better than the drawing that I'm currently able to produce, I would just like to have a space where I can express myself, hopefully freely. I know there are going to be people commenting, "You suck, why are you even making videos?" But that's the internet, There are always going to be people like that. On a side note, I should mention that because I'm not a young artist, I'm in my mid-30s, I put more pressure on myself to do better because there's this sort of expectation to be better by this age, but the truth is that when you haven't been consistently drawing throughout your life, or even for the past few years, you should not put pressure on yourself and just do your best. Whoops, even saying that puts pressure on me because my brain gets really discouraged with any kind of expectations and the possibility of disappointing someone, including myself. But I guess a little bit of pressure is good. If you've related to anything that I've said in this video, anything at all, I hope I've offered ways for you to feel better about yourself, and I hope I'm going to be able to do that with my future videos. And who knows how this is going to go. Perhaps it's going to change after a while. But currently I feel that I would like to have this space where I can express myself and improve myself and learn something. And also have a space where people can relate to me and to each other. So, thank you so much for watching.